My Little Caboose, Blue is Magic, by Darkwing. Chapter 13, Sleepover. What's Sugar Cube Corner? Caboose asked, following suit with Pinky.
It's the gingerbread house, you silly goose, Pinky said.
You live in a gingerbread house? Caboose yelled. That is the most amazing story I have ever heard! Can you tell that again?
Maybe later,
Pinky giggled happily. They were a short walk away from getting to the Sugar Cube Corner, but Pinkie Pie decided to take the long route. Are we there yet? Caboose asked, getting tired of walking.
Nope,
Pinky said happily. Caboose kept quiet for half a minute. How about now? Caboose asked. Pinky rolled her eyes playfully.
We're here, Pinky said.
Yay! Caboose said, starting to run to the closest house.
I was kidding, Caboose,
Pinky said, jumping on him, tackling him to the ground, and started laughing.
I thought you knew what it looked like.
Oh, Caboose laughed with a yawn. Aha! Now I just feel silly.
Maybe I shouldn't have taken the long way, Pinky said with a smile. You're really starting to look pooped.
I don't mind, Caboose said. I like walking with you. Pinky blushed and got up off of Caboose and started to take the direct route to the Sugar Cube Corner. Caboose got up and quickly hopped next to her.
You know, as much as I love Twilight and the others, I feel as if I can't really be myself around them. But with you, I feel as if I can really let loose.
Sometimes I like to pretend that I'm really a superhero around others, Caboose said. They usually tell me to stop after I keep asking where the phone booth is, but I still think it's fun. Pinky and Caboose soon arrived at their set destination, and Pinky opened the door.
You're really fun. You know that, Caboose?
Pinky asked. Thank you, Pinky. Caboose blushed, which made Pinky giggle. Pinky then leaned in and kissed Caboose on the cheek, which made him fall to the ground again.
I'm really happy you're here, Caboose, Pinky giggled, helping him up. I don't think I've ever met any pony like you.
I don't think I've ever met any pony like me either, Caboose said, letting out a large yawn. I'm tired.
I can see that, Pinky giggled. We don't have a guest bedroom, so I guess you'll have to sleep on my bed.
Caboose stared at her passively for a couple seconds. Then his face broke out into a huge grin. Oh boy! He yelled. A sleepover! Pinky giggled at Caboose. She then walked to and opened the door to her room, which had cupcakes plastered over everything. Caboose smiled and then started to jump on the bed. Pinky giggled and started jumping on the bed with him. Caboose then fell backwards on the bed and yawned again. Pinky stopped jumping and laid down on the bed next to Caboose.
Good night, Boosey.
Good night, Pinky, Caboose said, closing his eyes. Pinky looked at Caboose, who was already drifting off. She smiled and laid her head next to his, and soon fell asleep, cuddled up to Caboose. Caboose woke up the next morning and looked around the room. He looked next to him and noticed that Pinky wasn't there. Pinky? Caboose asked. Where are you?
I'm baking right now. I'll be up there in a sec, Pinky said from downstairs.
Pinky? Caboose asked, looking down at the floor. When did you become the ground? The door to the room then opened, and Mrs. Cake poked her head in.
Oh, hello, Caboose.
How are you today? Mrs. Cake asked.
Oh,
hello, Mrs. Icing Lady. I'm doing great, Caboose replied, then switched to a quiet whisper. Did you know that Pinkie Pie is the ground? What are you talking about? Mrs. Cake asked, looking at him with a raised brow. Pinky is downstairs working. Oh, Caboose said. She lives and works here? Come on downstairs and we'll get you a bite to eat, Mrs. Cake nodded. I'm really hungry, though, Caboose said, stomach rumbling. Do you think I could have more than one bite? Mrs. Cake smiled and shook her head. Sure, Caboose. Come on down. Caboose jumped off the bed and sprinted out the door, making his way downstairs to see Pinky. He then ran out the front door and looked around. This house is huge! Pinky! Are you here? Caboose yelled, not realizing he was outside.
I'm over here, silly,
Pinky said, taking some baked goods out of the oven.
Want a cupcake?
A cupcake? For breakfast? Caboose said quietly. This is the greatest place ever! Caboose ran back in the house and grabbed a couple of cupcakes and started munching on them.
Boy, you're really hungry, Pinky said,
taking a cupcake for herself. Caboose stuffed the rest of his cupcakes into his mouth, starting to choke. Caboose then swallowed them and cleared his throat. Coughing. Sorry, my mouth was full. I do that sometimes. I said, yeah, I really was hungry. Pinky smiled and shook her head.
Well, I'm done for the day. What do you want to do?
I don't know. What can we do?
Well, Applejack stopped by and picked up a lot of treats because she challenged Sarge to an eating contest. We could go watch them, Pinky suggested.
Hey, yeah, that sounds fun, Caboose said, grabbing Pinky's hoof. Pinky just smiled and walked out the door with him, making their way to Sweet Apple Acres. They soon got there and saw a small crowd standing in a circle, most of whom were part of the Apple family. Caboose and Pinky managed to squeeze ahead of everyone to watch the contest. 20 bits on the new guy, one stallion said. I'll take that bet, another said, shaking his head. Sarge cracked his neck and was getting ready. Hey, Sarge, Caboose said, standing next to him. Oh, hey, Caboose, Sarge said, not turning to greet him, focused on the upcoming battle of stomachs. Come to watch me win? Yeah, I guess so, Caboose replied with a smile. Y'all ready to shut up and eat, Sarge? Applejack asked with a grin. Depends, Sarge said, staring Applejack down. You ready to lose? In your dreams, hothead, Applejack replied.